if you guys remember, but there was a time back in like the early 2020s to where the whole LooksMaxxing thing was a big craze. And to say that it was a negative would be a complete lie because I actually believe that it was a very big positive up until we got to that whole black pill era. But the whole idea of LooksMaxxing and making yourself more attractive and getting in shape and finding a haircut that fits your head style, or even just getting your grooming on point, because a lot of people would just not take showers, not brush their teeth, and just get really, really sloppy. Especially around that time when, the whole panoramic was happening and people were ordering in DoorDash, Uber Eats, all of this crazy stuff, and people were gaining tons of weight, and they would be around their partners a little bit more, and then they might split up from each other, and they would end up getting back into the marketplace. And when they'd get into the marketplace, they might have not been, as fit as they were once they, started dating that person because they got comfortable or something like that. And I actually, like I told you, I liked what happened in the LooksMaxxing movement, right? Because, yeah, did a lot of people take it to an extreme? Of course. But in any endeavor, in any new trend, a lot of people are going to take it to a certain new extreme and just try to push the limits. That's human nature. They want to push the limits, see how far they can go with certain things. That being said, though, what were some of the common things that people spoke about when they referred to LooksMaxxing? They would, the big one, speak about getting in shape. Getting in shape, getting into the gym, getting down to a lean aesthetic body fat percentage, maybe 10 to 15% for a guy, 7 to 15%, I'll say. Also, what would they talk about? They would talk about niche things with your face, getting a skincare routine, getting a new haircut, getting some sort of fade hairstyle, densening up your eyebrows, making sure that, you have a facial hairstyle that fits your face, keeping hair underneath your chin, all of these things. Maybe even getting some tattoos or some jewelry like I have. But what I've come to realize, especially if you go out and about and you'll see a lot of these girls that are gorgeous girls are dating a lot of these, just all right looking guys, and they're in pretty fulfilling relationships. But what I am coming to realize is everything that you do in terms of LooksMaxxing, every single aspect that you can take with your grooming and I'm not saying not to do these things, they're kind of destitute when you don't have the body on point. Because for us guys, being on body game, being lean, being in shape is going to grant you 85% of the results of LooksMaxxing. Yes, 85%. 85% of everything you want in terms of being the most attractive version of yourself, carrying yourself with a certain presence, being that confident man, being able to get choosing signals in your room, being able to actually have a presence when you walk around. A large majority of that is just being in shape. And why I think that, even though this was spoken about enough, why I don't think that this was harped on as hardly as, some of the other niche things with the face, and you got people online talking about smashing your bones and breaking your nose apart and lengthening up your legs to get super tall and all this crazy, stupid stuff. Reason why I don't think this was talked about enough is because though getting in shape is not as an immediate effect as some of those other things are. I want a new haircut, I go to the barber pretty quick. Of course, assuming that, you have enough hair to get said haircut. I want to get a skincare routine. Go on Amazon, order the products done. Go to Target, buy the products done. It's pretty simple. Getting in shape. I have to spend 2.5 years in the gym, and I have to also then, stop drinking and going out as much. And then I also have to, reassess what I have in my fridge. Even though I just bought groceries last week, I now have to get all of those bad groceries out of my house and then now fill my house with these new groceries that are going to get me to my goals. And also, not just that, I have to make sure that I'm doing the right stuff in the gym. And not only am I having to do the right stuff in the gym, I have to make sure that that food that I bought, I know how to track that. I know how to log that into my fitness pal. And then also, I have to continuously do all of this right for 4 to 5 times a week for about 3 years, alongside being hungry every day and walking outside and getting 10,000 steps a day and making sure that I stay consistent, because even just one bad weekend can derail all the work I did for a week. You see why people don't talk about it as much? It's because all of that extra work is very, very deterring to somebody who hasn't ever been through that process before. So that's why they say those smaller things, like, like we were talking about earlier, get the jewelry, get the tattoos. All of that stuff is immediate. You can do it and you don't have to put that much effort in. But in all realms, where you plant the seed and where you give it time to harvest and foster, that is going to be where you get the most yield on your investment. Like, I'll even correlate this to myself. So as a younger guy, like going through high school and whatnot, what I didn't have the best physique. I was out of shape, I was pudgy and whatnot, up until like about the senior years. But what I always had, even middle school up through high school, I always had nice clothes on. Always nice clothes on. Now, were we rich? Definitely not. Definitely not. But I would use my birthday money. I would, use that budget that I had for summer shopping for, getting my clothes. I'd use all of that to get the flies of clothes, and I'd be very caught up on the current fashion trends. And I would put these clothes on and it would garner me some attention and I'd feel good in it. And if I was wearing those Concords that came out in 2018 or something like that, people would comment on those Concords. Or if I was wearing, there was a big time where Champion clothes was a craze. And if you were wearing that, you were kind of like seen as that guy. And then when Huaraches was a craze, I was just always on these trends because they were immediate and they didn't require much work for me to get. There was no delayed gratification aspect. It was get immediate reward of getting the positive sanctions, the positive validation. Bam. But I was not in shape. I was fat. I remember my friend telling me because we would make like these jokes a lot, and these are like some very niche inside jokes. And he made a playoff of a joke that we had. And then he was like, the way he played it off was, it was saying that I've been gaining weight, which was true. Because I remember, I think I was 15 or something like that. And during my time growing up, because for me to get in this whole fitness industry, a lot of it, or pretty much all of it, has just came from experience. Like, it wasn't until I was about 18 years old to where I actually got my CPT and became a NASM certified personal trainer, started training people in the gym, started doing really, really hard online coaching, entrepreneurship. But even before then, I was still helping people with their fitness goals because I just had so much experience, because I had so many mini transformations to where I go up and down and up and down and up and down. And I remember I made this big transformation to where I dropped down to, it was about 135 pounds. People were saying I looked skinny, and this was via me running every morning, a mile every morning, alongside just learning a whole bunch of information about fitness content. Or not fitness content, information about fitness through content. So it would be videos I'd watch. It would be YouTube novels, or not YouTube novels, novels I read alongside YouTube videos as well. And I would ingest this information all of the time. So got down to 135, looked great. People were telling me about it. You see family you haven't seen in a while. You go, oh, you lost weight, you lost. Yeah, I did. Okay, great. Felt good though. Said that mockingly, but it felt good. So after I got down to 135, thing is, every solution creates a new problem. And that's just in every endeavor of life. You get to one stage in your fitness journey, then you have a problem that you didn't even know you had beforehand. And then now you have to do more work to solve that problem, which you don't have to do, because you can always just go in the description and book a call with me, and I can definitely walk you through your routine and expedite the process, because I have so many years and I've been doing this longer than the time I've probably been conscious. No, I said that wrong. I've been doing this longer than half of the time I've been conscious. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So if you wanted that, go ahead and go in the description, book a call with me, and I'll break down everything you've been through. I've coached so many people at this point, so you can trust I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Also, pretty lean myself, I would say so. So go ahead and book in a call, or you can go on my Instagram at Seth J. Blunk, DM me change, and I can talk to you and help you out from there. But what would happen was I got down to that 135, and then after I got down to 135, then I would slowly, incrementally just gain weight, because I didn't know what to do after I got down there. There was no fitness coaching advice. There was no TikTok to tell you what you should do after you finish your cut. There was no AI tools that you could talk to and get some information to get kind of pointed. There was none of that. It was just you figuring things out and you researching more and more so that you can eventually get up to the point to where you want to get to. So I slowly but surely, over the course of that year, I would just incrementally gain weight. Maybe it was like 3 to 4 pounds a month. Something that's very, very menial. That's only a 500 calorie surplus. What's a 500 calorie surplus? That's literally just going from a maybe a medium fry to a large fry and just eating the same thing every single day. But it was incremental, but that compounded, because that compounding interest on my body, it was just more and more fat gain piled on. And guess what? Got up to 180. Got up to 180. Looked like shit. Yeah, I did look like shit. I won't even lie. But then I was like, okay, cool. So I'm up to 180. And even though then, like, I mean, I was in the gym a little bit, I was still not very satisfied with my physique, of course, because I was no longer lean. And like I said earlier, being lean is 80% of LooksMaxxing for guys. And I was in this relationship to where I didn't feel confident internally. So there was a lot of stuff I'd let slide because my mindset was very scarce and I didn't know, like, okay, what should I be doing and what should I be expecting when I'm, dating somebody? And I'm a kid, I'm a jit. What the fuck am I supposed to know? So, but I feel like if I were a leaner version of myself, if I was a more confident version of myself, I would have at least been able to see through that a little bit quicker and understand, whoa, this isn't how you're supposed to be getting treated. So what did I do? I went on a transformation, got really, really in shape, partially because of that relationship afterwards. And then got really, really leaned out. And then I noticed, okay, cool. I took some time alone, took some time to myself. But I would notice I would go out to these places. And even like in my first year of college, we'd go out to these clubs. There would be times where, which this literally has to be like against the law. I'd walk past to go to the bathroom. And then a girl, she would literally just take her hands and then just like rub against my abs like this. That is just illegal, and that was against the law. Or there would be times to where girls, they'd play the games in the clubs to where, they'd like rub on your shoulder and then like look away. Like I'd get that a decent bit. Or they'd be like, oh my gosh, you have a really nice face because, and under that lighting, my hollow cheeks were starting to show. So even then, I wasn't even crazy into like the whole LooksMaxxing craze. I had a couple tattoos. Yeah, I wore some jewelry. Yeah. But the largest majority of it was the fact that I was ripped. I've had girls tell me like, whoa, you are so ripped. You're so lean. How did you do that? I haven't seen somebody who looks like this. It's celebrity status you get because in this world we're living in modern day America, oh my gosh, even though we have all of these new medications, even though we have all of these new supplements that people are taking and all of these, Zempics and the True Tides and the Zepatides and the blase, people are somehow, with more technology, only getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So when you are lean and you're an outcast in today's society, oh my gosh, you will look so different. Because at this point now, I'm never buying no designer. Like that doesn't happen. Like this is a Amazon Essentials black fitted tank top. Got a pack of 6 for like what? Maybe like $18. But it fits me well. And people will be like, yo, where'd you get the tank top from? And it's like, yo, the tank top you bought is more expensive. But because I'm lean, it fits me well. And that's not cocky. That's like literally just the truth. Because if you want to just stand out as a guy and you want to look attractive as a guy, because us as guys, you don't have to be this super handsome mega Chad if your goal is just to be an attractive version of yourself. Generally, you don't. And I intensely filmed this video. No haircut. Because even with no haircut, I still feel confident in myself because my body's on point. I'm lean. I'm aesthetic. I have those prerequisite traits. I had those intangibles that got me up to this point. And those intangibles of, staying consistent, staying disciplined, making sure I'm consistent with what I'm eating, making sure I'm getting my 20,000 steps a day. Yeah, I'm getting 20,000 at this point. Those intangibles not only get me the body that I want, but it gets me the mentality that I want. The mentality of, okay, whatever I want is out there in abundance because I found a way to prove to myself that I can create value for myself in this aspect of life. So why wouldn't a girl get value from me being in her life? That's the mentality you get when you're lean. That's an intangible. But when you are out of shape and you're not living the best version of yourself, and I would go into the mirror in the mornings and whatnot, and I would see myself shirtless, and there was just overhang. Where are you going to find confidence then? Where's the abundance mindset going to be then? Where is the mentality that, you are the best version of yourself going to be when your gut is hanging over your waistline? Literally. When you are wearing a white shirt, right? A baggy white shirt, and still when it crinkles up a bit, it's still going to attach to your love handles. Where is the confidence going to be there? And that is the difference that they don't talk about when you get lean. And that is why I'm saying for you, 85% of the game, if you want to look smacked, if you want to be attractive, is just being on body game. If your body is on point, everything else is just a surplus. Because let's say you're a guy and, you're an average guy. You're a 5 out of 10. You're 5 out of 10. You have the potential of being let's say an 8 out of 10. If you were to just simply get lean, get in shape, get your body on point, and do the basic grooming, as in taking a shower. Wow, super hard, I know. Getting some deodorant, consistently wearing it. Getting even a cheap cologne, or not even a cologne, maybe a scented fragrance, and just rubbing it on yourself. And making sure that you have a haircut. Any haircut. So long as you're not freaking, just lying just straight through the middle of your head. If you do all that, you don't have to worry about, getting these super deep, set eyebrows, getting all tattoos, getting all jewelried up, wearing the freshest designer of clothes, bone smashing, and how high you're off of the ground, like your height. You don't have to worry about really any of that stuff, so long as you're in shape and you have decent grooming. Because just having those two things separates you from pretty much every guy out there. Now, yes, if you live in a tier 1 city like Miami, if you live in a tier 1 city like LA, will those little things matter a little bit more? Yeah, but still, even in those tier 1 cities, a lot of the guys still aren't in shape there. Yeah, you'll see some guys who are in shape, who are in really good shape. Yeah, but that is still a very small pool of an even smaller pool, because you're looking not just at a state, you're looking at a city and a state. And then you are looking at a small minority of the population in that city. And the people, where you'll see these in shape people are oftentimes where in shape people will be biased. You go to a run club, you see in shape people. Okay, not impressive. You go to the gym, you see in shape people. Now everybody's in shape. Now you're seeing the same people on social media because you're starting to get in the gym, because you are now biasing towards that content because you're in the gym. Now you think everybody's in shape. No, nobody's in shape. Because if you walk out to Trader Joe's, if you walk out to Kroger, if I walked out to the mall and I just walk around, if you just keep your eyes peeled, because a lot of times I feel like especially me, I can have a hard time noticing if somebody's just like really, really overweight around me, because it's just so common to see. And I just want you, here's actually a practice for you. Next time you go out to get groceries, wherever you may shop at, H-E-B, Trader Joe's, Publix, Walmart, Target, Safeway, Aldi, I think that's all of them. I want you, in your head, count out every person you see every guy you see that is above 20% body fat. And then I want you to also make note of every person you see that is below 20% body fat. And what is 20% body fat? That is right where that point to where they don't look bad on the outside, but you might see a very tiny gut to them. There's not going to be really much definition to their face or their arms. They just kind of look slightly better than average. That's around 20% body fat. And if they look better than average, they're likely below that. Now, if you want a graph, if you want a chart, you can go ahead and look up like the body fat percentage charts. But I just want you to make note of all of these people, right? All of them. And that way you can actually have a good grasp onto, wait. You are really rare as a guy if you are a lean guy. And now, am I saying that you just being lean, you being attractive, that is going to just get you everything you want in this life? No, it's not. You still need those intangibles to you. You still need a personality to you. You still need that character to you. You still need to be able to, fulfill your duties as a guy, be it you're working hard in your career, be it you're trying to live on some sort of purpose, be it you're trying to build some sort of personal brand, you have to be doing all of these things as well in tandem. Well, you don't have to be, but it'll make the process for you a lot easier. And also those other parts of LooksMaxxing that we were talking about earlier. Maybe you want to test out these different niche hacks. I'm all for it. I never said these niche hacks are bad, but I'm saying if you are relying on those and you're not worrying about the biggest thing, which is going to be getting your body on point, you are playing the game wrong. But I want you to try to think of how you can leverage yourself in every aspect. But until you got the body on point, you're not even doing the first step. And again, if you want to get your body on point, I have done this for 50 plus guys. I've done this for myself so many times to where now I don't have to do these crazy transformations because I've just helped so many people with it. I've gotten it with myself and I've got my certs and I've trained so many people in the gym and online now. Please book a call. I guarantee you what you are going through, I have seen before. I promise you. I've worked with people literally as young as 15 all the way up to people literally in their 80s. So I've seen it all. I promise your situation isn't niche. Oh, but I can't lose my stubborn belly fat. Bro, show me the situation. I will doctor it out. I will fix it. But again, if you're not that person who's willing to work, if you're that person who gets inspired and does nothing, then the best coach on the planet, which is me, by the way, can't help you. But if you are ready and you're like, you know what, I just need this guidance, I need this accountability, I need this structure, book a call with me. We will get you into the shape that you want to be in. Talk to y'all boys later.